Hey everybody, I'm here with a quick video on the latest update in the Jay-Z accuser slash lawsuit case. Well, she spoke out to NBC. Well, how you want to be anonymous, but then you're going to speak out to NBC and tell the people you from Alabama? If you're doing all of that, you're doing the most, then you might as well come out and tell us who you are. Say your name. Well, she acknowledges that some of her story just doesn't add up. But the big bombshell in the whole thing is her daddy said he don't recall picking her up from nowhere with a whole hot mess. Let's go ahead, people, and get into this story. Hold on, let me go ahead and share screen. So Jay-Z accuser comes forward to NBC News, acknowledges inconsistencies in her allegations. The woman told NBC News she came forward because you should always advocate for yourself. When asked about inconsistencies in her account, she added, I had made some mistakes. Girl, when you're accusing somebody of something so heinous, you can't be making mistakes. I'm sorry. And I know all of y'all say don't victim shame. I don't never victim shame over here, but I always tell you when something don't smell right, when the math ain't mathing, we got to talk about it. Now the accuser herself got to say the math ain't mathing. So Houston, an Alabama woman who accused Jay-Z and Diddy of arming her when she was 13 years old, sat down with NBC News to recount what she called a catastrophic event. A limo ride to a White House, a drink that made her feel woozy, an essay assault by rap stars that will ruin her life. But the woman and her lawyers also acknowledged that there were some inconsistencies in her account in response to questions from NBC News. I have made some mistakes in recollections of that night. The woman identified as Jane Doe in the lawsuit filed against Jay-Z and Diddy told NBC News. The woman says she stands by her allegations overall. The inconsistencies in her account of the incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean that allegations are false. Among the inconsistencies, the woman said her father picked her up after the alleged SA, but he says he doesn't recall that. The woman also claims she spoke to a celebrity at the after party, where she says she was SA, but that celebrity said he was not in New York at the time. And images from that evening show Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs at a different location than the one the woman described, although their whereabouts for the entire evening are unclear. The incident didn't happen, Carter told NBC News in a statement Friday, and yet he filed it in a court and doubled down in the press. He added, referring to one of the woman's attorneys, Tony Buzbee, true justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. Busby says he is continuing to vet her claims. How do you send someone a demand letter talking about you want to have mediation and you didn't finish vetting out your client yet? Tony Buzbee is a whole fraud who is muddying the waters. And that could be why Diddy decided today, I'm not going to continue to fight for bail. Let me fight for my life because they got a whole lot of people out here lying on me. And Jay-Z indirectly encouraged him by fighting for his life for Diddy to sit back, look through this evidence, and fight for his. James Doe's case was referred to our firm by another who vetted it prior to sending it to us. He told NBC News in an email, this is Tony Buzbee. Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. Now you saying to the best of her memory? We will continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists because we have interrogated her intensely. She has even agreed to submit a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. In any event, he added, we always do our best to vet each claim made, just as we did in this case. This has been extremely distressing for her to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress. The allegations against Carter suggest a systematic shift, potentially linking the rap legend to the alleged behavior laid out in civil and criminal cases against Combs, who is in a Brooklyn jail awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Carter's attorney, Alan Sparrow, said, "It is stunning that a lawyer would not only file such a serious complaint without proper vetting, but would make things worse by further peddling this false story in the press. We are asking the court to dismiss this frivolous case today and will take up the matter of additional discipline for Mr. Buzbee and all the lawyers that filed the complaint." Combs' attorneys called the suit a shameful money grab. Buzbee has filed more than 20 lawsuits against Combs. The lawsuits were originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, listing Combs as a defendant, and it was refiled Sunday to name Carter as another defendant. NBC News traveled to Houston to interview the woman, who declined to be identified, at her attorney's office earlier this week. "You should always fight for what happened to you," she said about why she is going public with her accusations now. "You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice to yourself. You should never let what somebody else did ruin or run your life. I just hope I can give others the strength to come forward like I came forward." The woman, who is now 38, told NBC News she is living in Rochester, New York, and she was living in Rochester, New York in 2000, and that attending the VMAs was on my bucket list at 13. It was like, oh my gosh, one of those things I got to do. She says she snuck out a window to evade her parents. Where am I at? I'm sorry, guys. I just lost my spot there. Okay. A friend drove for the Radio City Music Hall in New York City. She said in the lawsuit, people thronged into viewing areas outside the venue, which was decked out for the awards. Crowds roared when J-Lo arrived. Eminem performed on the street. She didn't have a ticket, and she said in the suit she watched some of the show on the jumbotron outside. She also started chatting up limo drivers. "I'm trying to get in to try to stay back and get on an after party and get invited in and meet some celebrities," she told NBC News. One limo driver said he worked for Combs and that she fit what that he was looking for, the suit said, and he told her to return later and he'd take her to an after party. After about 20 minutes in a limo, she said in the suit, she arrived at a large white residence with a gate U-shaped driveway. She said in the suit, she signed a document that she didn't read. Inside, she told NBC News, I'm talking to like Fred Durst, Benji Madden about his tattoo, because you know about his tattoo. That's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background, so it was just something to talk about. After accepting a drink from a waitress, she told NBC News, I started feeling funny. Tried to start looking for a place to lay down. She found an empty room with a bed in it, she said in the suit. And soon after, Combs, Carter, and a woman entered the room. You're ready to party, Combs said, according to the suit. Well, Combs and Carter are touched, she said. Jay-Z comes over, holds me down. I'm trying to push away. He puts his hand over my mouth, tells me to stop, to cut the S, and then he R's me like he had me overpowered, she said. Afterwards, she said in the suit, she managed to flee the house and ran to the gas station. I was upset, and the person at the gas station could tell that I was obviously upset, and she let me use the phone. I called my dad because he was the only person I trust at the time. I told him I messed up and I needed a ride home, she told NBC News. We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was. She told NBC News she never told anyone about the alleged assault or wrote it down in a diary. Even if somebody found out, who was going to believe me? I mean, it was the word of two celebrities against mine, she said. The years after were hard, she said. I got severely depressed. I withdrew completely. My grades started slipping, and she dropped out of school. She experienced homelessness, she said, and at one point suffered a head injury. She and her father also said she was hard later in life. She now has two children, a son and a daughter. She served less than a year in the Army National Guard and left with the rank of private. She got her high school diploma and got my Christian counseling certification so that I can help people who have gone through what I've gone through, she said. She also said she has applied behavior analyst certification so she can help people with autism, which she says she has. There are so little resources to moms that don't have the proper amount of income, she said. Reaction was swift in the days since the woman went public with her allegations against Carter. The rapper released a statement calling the claims idiotic and heinous in nature and sharply criticizing her attorney. There are some inconsistencies in her story about that night. Her father told NBC News that he does not recall picking her up after the alleged attack, casting doubt on a key detail in her lawsuit. According to their address at the time, her father would have driven more than 5 hours from their home to pick her up. I feel like I would remember that, and I don't, he said in an interview Thursday. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. Asked about her father's account in a follow-up interview on Friday, the woman said she stood by her claim that he had picked her up, and it is possible he misremembered. If how could he not remember a 5-hour drive? There's a lot of things in this stuff that we argue about constantly. Something he said or did back in New York around that time period, he just doesn't remember, she said. It actually causes a lot of fights, sometimes in the household. Regarding her father's recollections, Buzbee told NBC News, we agree he states he doesn't remember. His daughter explains that he is in no state to remember during that point in time due to personal issues he was having then. We're talking about a time frame more than 20 years ago. The woman also told NBC News she spoke with musician Benji Madden at the after party, but a representative for Madden confirmed that neither Benji nor his brother Joel attended the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. The woman did not accuse the brothers of any wrongdoing. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me, and that around that and in the route that I took to what happened to me. Not all of the faces there are as clear, the woman said in a Friday follow-up interview. So I had made some mistakes. I had made a mistake in identifying. The woman also could not provide further information about the after party she said she attended. Professional images reviewed by NBC News show Combs and Carter were among the celebrities who attended a VMA's after party at a Lotus nightclub in New York City. It is not clear what time those images were taken or if Combs and Carter attended other after parties. The building that housed Lola is now closed does not match the description of the house the woman described in the lawsuit and interview. I didn't know exactly where we were going or even how long it took, the woman said. When asked Tuesday where she thought she was taken that night, she added that she had guessed about the length of time the trip had taken in the lawsuit. Buzbee said, we have attempted to confirm the correct location. We have never suggested the location was the Lotus Club. Our client has been very specific and detailed about the description of the venue she says she was taken to, and she has never stated it was the Lotus Club. He added, we won't speculate on whether there was an after party because, again, she doesn't know that. Also among the woman's allegations that could not be corroborated is how she made it to New York City that night. One of her attorneys provided NBC News with the name and birthday of the friend she said drove her, who would have been 20 at the time. That person appears to have since died. NBC News attempts to reach out to the person's relatives were unsuccessful. This is a hot freaking mess. I don't know what to say, but I will say this. When your own father can't remember that he possibly drove 5 hours to pick you up that night, it's a little bit problematic. Listen, guys, chat with me in the comments. So when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. What a mess. Let me know your thoughts. And that's why probably Sean Carter is toes down on this situation, saying it wasn't me and I'm fighting to save my name, because everybody seems to want a money grab. All I could say is, by this own girl words, her story is not consistent and not adding up. Chat with me, I'll chat back, and I'll see you on the next video.